In the heart of the fertile lands of Ayoka, King Obaid ruled with wisdom and grace. His kingdom was known far and wide for its prosperity, and the people lived in peace, their lives marked by bountiful harvests and joyous festivals. The king's palace stood as a beacon of strength and stability, a testament to the harmony that King Obaid had cultivated throughout his reign. Beside the king stood Queen Adama, a woman of unparalleled beauty and kindness. Her presence was a source of comfort to the king and inspiration to the people. She was loved and revered, not just for her regal bearing but for her compassionate heart. She often visited the villages, offering help and solace to those in need, and her acts of kindness were the stuff of legends. Despite the prosperity and happiness that surrounded them, a shadow loomed over the royal couple. After many years of marriage, they had not been blessed with a child. The absence of an heir weighed heavily on King Obaid's mind. He understood the importance of securing the future of his lineage and the stability of his kingdom. Without an heir, the future seemed uncertain, and this uncertainty gnawed at him day and night. The king's court and advisers, aware of this issue, subtly urged him to consider taking a second wife. They believed that another union might bring forth the much-desired heir. This suggestion, though made with the kingdom's best interest in mind, filled the king with dread. He loved Queen Adama deeply, and the thought of taking another wife seemed like a betrayal of that love. Queen Adama, too, was acutely aware of the growing tension. She shared her husband's sorrow and felt the weight of the unfulfilled desire for a child. Each passing year without an heir brought her deep sadness, which she concealed behind a serene and composed facade. She prayed fervently, hoping that the gods would answer her prayers and bless her with a child. The people of Ayoka, though living their lives in joy, could sense the underlying sorrow in the royal palace. They celebrated their festivals with vigor and continued to prosper, but their hearts ached for their beloved queen. They hoped and prayed that one day Queen Adama would bear a child, bringing even greater joy to the kingdom. Yes, the kingdom continued to thrive. The unspoken desire for an heir remained. This desire would soon set the stage for events that would test the strength and resolve of both the royal family and the kingdom of Ayoka. Little did they know that their lives were about to change in ways they could never have imagined. The prosperity of Ayoka was a constant reminder to King Obaid of the responsibilities he bore. His subjects flourished under his rule, and his advisers often commended him on his leadership. Yet, despite the accolades and the outward success, the king's heart was heavy with sorrow. The absence of an heir was a burden he could not shake. Every morning, as King Obaid sat on his throne, listening to the petitions of his people, his mind would often wander to the unfulfilled dream of a child. He envisioned a young prince or princess running through the palace halls, their laughter echoing off the walls, filling the empty spaces with joy. This vision, however, remained just that, a dream that seemed increasingly distant. His advisers, sensing his growing despair, took it upon themselves to offer counsel. They reminded him of the kingdom's need for a successor, gently suggesting that he consider taking a second wife. The king, though understanding the practicality of their advice, found himself torn. His love for Queen Adama was deep and unwavering, and the thought of sharing his affections with another woman seemed an impossible task. Queen Adama, aware of the discussions in the court, felt a similar conflict. She had always been proud of her role as the queen, a symbol of love and unity in Ayoka. The suggestion that her husband might take another wife cut her deeply, yet she understood the pressures that weighed on him. She knew that the future of the kingdom was at stake, and that the absence of an heir was a matter of great concern. Despite her own sorrow, Queen Adama remained a pillar of strength for the king. She continued her charitable works, visiting the villages and offering her support to those in need. Her grace and kindness never wavered, even as her heart ached with the longing for a child. She hoped against hope that their prayers would be answered, and that she and the king would be blessed with a child who would secure the future of Ayoka. One evening, as the king and queen sat together in their private chambers, King Obaid spoke of his fears. "Adama, My love, I worry for the future of our kingdom. Without an heir, I fear what may become of Ayoka when I am gone. Queen Adama took his hand, her eyes filled with understanding and compassion. My dear Obaid, I share your concerns, but we must have faith. The gods have their own timing and we must trust in their wisdom. I believe that our prayers will be answered. Her words offered the king some comfort, though the weight of his sorrow remained. The days passed, each one blending into the next, filled with the duties of ruling a kingdom and the quiet, unspoken hope for a miracle. As time passed, the pressure on King Obaid grew unbearable. The council of elders and his advisers became more insistent, urging him to consider the future stability of the kingdom. They reminded him that his duty as a king went beyond his personal feelings and extended to the welfare of his people. Reluctantly, King Obaid realized that he could no longer ignore their advice. He made the difficult decision to take a second wife, hoping that this would bring the much-desired heir. The news of the king's decision spread quickly throughout Ayoka. It was met with mixed reactions. Some understood the necessity, while others worried about Queen Adama's feelings. Amidst this, a search began for a suitable second queen. After much deliberation, a young woman named Ojugo was chosen. She was from a noble family, known for her beauty and intelligence, and it was hoped that she would bring harmony to the royal household. Queen Ojugo arrived at the palace amidst great fanfare. The kingdom celebrated the new union with grand feasts and festivities. However, beneath the surface of joy and celebration, there was an undercurrent of tension. Queen Adama, though gracious and welcoming, felt a pang of sadness at the sight of the new queen. She understood the necessity of the decision but could not help but feel the weight of the situation. King Obaid, too, found himself in a complex emotional landscape. He treated Queen Ojugo with respect and kindness, but his heart remained with Adama. The palace, once a place of simple harmony, now became a stage for delicate balances and unspoken emotions. Queen Farida, aware of the sensitive dynamics, endeavored to aid herself into palace life. She was intelligent and perceptive, understanding the importance of earning the respect and affection of both the king and Queen Adama. She involved herself in the affairs of the kingdom, showing a keen interest in governance and the welfare of the people. Her efforts began to bear fruit, and gradually she became a respected figure in the court. Despite the initial tensions, a semblance of peace settled over the palace. The kingdom continued to prosper, and the people adjusted to the new reality. Queen Ojugo's presence, though initially a source of concern, became accepted as part of the royal household. However, the primary issue remained unresolved. Months turned into a year, and still there was no sign of a child. The palace was once again engulfed in an air of anticipation and uncertainty. King Obaid, Queen Adama, and Queen Ojugo all continued their duties with a quiet hope that the gods would soon bless them with an heir. The story of Ayoka, now more complex than ever, continued to unfold. The royal family faced their challenges with courage and grace, but the future remained uncertain. Little did they know, fate had a series of unexpected events in store that would change their lives forever. Months after Queen Ojugo's arrival, the palace was abuzz with unexpected news. Queen Ojugo was pregnant. The announcement was met with jubilation throughout Ayoka. The kingdom erupted in celebrations, with grand feasts, dances, and prayers offered to the gods in gratitude. For King Obaid, the news brought immense relief. The long-awaited heir seemed finally within reach. Queen Adama, despite her inner turmoil, put on a brave face. She joined in the celebrations and congratulated Queen Ojugo with genuine warmth. But behind her smile, her heart ached with a mix of emotions. She was happy for the kingdom, but the reminder of her own childless state was a heavy burden to bear. As the months passed, Queen Ojugo's pregnancy progressed smoothly. The palace buzzed with activity, preparing for the arrival of the royal child. Queen Ojugo was pampered and cared for, every need attended to by a dedicated team of attendants. King Obaid lavished her with gifts and attention, his hopes for the future pinned on the child she carried. Meanwhile, Queen Adama retreated into her own quiet world. She continued her charitable works, visiting the villages and helping those in need. Her grace and kindness remained unwavering, but those closest to her could sense the sadness in her eyes. She spent long hours in prayer, seeking solace and strength from the gods. One evening, as Queen Adama walked through the palace gardens, she felt a sudden wave of dizziness. Concerned, she sought the advice of the palace healer, who conducted a thorough examination. To Queen Adama's astonishment, the healer revealed that she too was pregnant. The news filled her with a mixture of joy and disbelief. She had almost given up hope, and now she was carrying the king's child. Queen Adama decided to keep the news of her pregnancy a secret for the time being. She wanted to ensure that everything was well before sharing this incredible development. However, Queen Ojugo soon noticed changes in Adama's demeanor and became suspicious. Her jealousy flared, and she began to plot a way to ensure that her child would be the favored one.